there's been a lot more movement toward interactivity in classic television using multiple devices at once. Kind of, vote on your mobile phone for your American Idol winner, those kinds of things. But this is a different kind of integration. I mean, because this is a strategic and creative integration with an advertiser. In other kinds of operations, television, print, there's the church-state relationship problem. I mean, is that something that you wrestle with, or do you have this done by a separate division of the company, or is it your main writers? How do you do it?
It's a great question. It's actually our main writers, and the church and state is just letting the audience know that it's paid for content, I think. Other than that, there's very little separation, and I think as you pointed out earlier, we're one of the few pure digital companies, and so we can do whatever we want. We don't have to worry about cannibalizing an old school brand, and we don't have to worry about cannibalizing, another revenue stream of cable subscription or anything like that. So we can do whatever we want. Obviously, we can't fool the audience, and so what we need to do is come up with campaigns that are genuine, and the only way to do that is to use the writers and that we have writing actual College Humor scripts. I mean, the people in that video, Jake was one of them, and David Young, who was another one of our writers, was in that, and he's actually since moved on to Jimmy Fallon. I want to point out we're a feeder for a lot of good places.
That's the risk. That's the
exactly
the joy and the terror of the business.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think again, to your point, it's really about keeping it genuine and making sure that we create content that's as real and as good as possible. And the only way to do that is to use the real editorial staff.
Now, talk about that editorial staff for a bit, because one of the things that I really wonder about, that I'm fascinated with, is number one is kind of creating content for these kinds of platforms fundamentally different than creating content for television. Do they come with a different sensibility, a different skill set? And if so, what is that?
Absolutely, they do. They are the ones who have grown up on the internet. I would say our oldest writer is 26 at most. In fact, the president of our original content division, who runs the entire thing, is 27, and he's a genius. But he's really got a sense of the pulse of the internet and what goes viral. I referred to the sieve, and that's really sort of understanding how the internet works and spending all their time on Reddit, on Tumblr, on StumbleUpon, and sort of really feeling what's going to work. And I think that a lot of TV content that translates to the internet, with the exception of something like Hulu, obviously, or Netflix, but I think people who are used to TV, there's a different pacing, there are different memes, there are different insights, and I think there's different dialogue that goes along with it, and a different sensibility. And if you don't understand that and you don't have that, I do think it won't be as successful.